My start out in college was to prepare to be a teacher. After finishing Bishop College, I moved to Dallas, and believe it or not, my first job working when I finished college was at Lott's Funeral Home. Most people are afraid to work at funeral homes, but I had no problem with it, and they started using me in other places like doing hair, helping to dress out, playing for funerals, and doing whatever was necessary. And I found that to be interesting and a good job for me. I moved away from Dallas the next year and teach school in Rosenberg, Texas. There was another friend that I met who had a funeral home. They employed me part-time. And of course I'm learning all of the time and getting real involved in a business that I knew nothing about. 6 or 7 years, and found it to be an interesting job. And I worked for the Gooden Funeral Home and learned almost everything but embalming. That did not attract my attention. I met my husband, whom I had known, and we were sweethearts in high school. And we decided to get married, and I moved to Texarkana.
I am Andrea Jeanette Haynes-Johnson, the middle daughter of Pauline Haynes and Thomas Haynes Sr. My dad, I want to talk about my dad. He was an amazing guy. I have been in the funeral service business all of my life that I can remember, as far back as 5 years old. When we used to live in Texarkana, and my dad graduated from mortuary school in June of 1947, long before I was born, of course. And he worked at the post office first after graduating from mortuary school, and we moved to Texarkana. He was employed by John J. Jones Funeral Home here in Texarkana first, but Mr. Jones needed to open a mortuary in a funeral home in Atlanta, Texas. So my daddy and our family moved to Atlanta, Texas. What was interesting about that funeral home, it was also the place that we lived.
Long before, I guess, Miss Haynes and Mr. Haynes got started in the mortuary business, I used to come out here and play at her house.
So we actually had the display room. Now we used to call it the casket room. We used to play jacks in there. We used to play hide and seek in there. We used to scare our friends in there because we would lure them in there to play jacks and then hide behind a casket and jump out. In 1968 or 9, he partnered with Mr. and Mrs. Patterson.
Mr. Patterson and Miss Patterson lived kind of 2 doors from them, so I would always come out here and play with Tony and Ronnie Patterson and Miss Haynes' kids, Scoot, Jeanette, Lillian, and we would always hang out.
I remember, these are funny stories. I remember once, and my brother probably won't appreciate me telling this story, my dad took us into the living room. And so because we never seen my dad spank any of us, we wanted to see this spanking, me and my older sister. So we go into the living room and we close the door, and my dad said to us, me and my sister, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the couch, and Scoot is what we call my brother, and Scoot's going to cry. And so my dad hit the couch, and my brother went, "Oh, Daddy, don't, that hurts. Oh, Daddy, I won't do it anymore." And he never touched my brother. True story. So that is indicative of the kind of guy he was. Sweet, kind, gentle, loving.
So my first experience with Haynes and Patterson, I was a senior in high school, and the late Major Patterson and the late Marvin Patterson was my principal, and she was my homemaking teacher. And she was the so-called answering service on weekends. And when they would have to go out of town, she would always ask me, she said, will you help me? I said, yes, because she said, I have a flower shop. Will you work for me? I said, sure.
Marvin Patterson became interested in joining my husband as a partner. We started Haynes Patterson Mortuary along with Mr. Patterson's wife.
From the time that I actually started, and we didn't have any specific name, we just called the limo drivers, and then later we became attendants, and now we're a family care specialist. So we have evolved with the modern age.
We didn't start out with limousines, but we bought sedans. We ordered them gold. Mr. Patterson bought his and we bought ours, and that's what we used.
How I got to Haynes and Patterson, working for Mrs. Haynes, so she had multiple services and she needed someone to drive her flower cart. At that time, she used her personal vehicle. She had a kind of a cranberry color Honda Accord. And she asked me when I came to the visitation, she says, would you mind working for me? And I said, yes, ma'am. When you work for the Pattersons? I said, sure, I work for you.
My experience with the Haynes family as well as the Patterson family has always been real good. Two very good families. Education, they always educators. Miss Haynes, Mr. Patterson, Miss May Jewell, his wife, they were all educators.
We live in the Macedonia area, right around the corner from, well, right around the curve from the funeral home. And we knew they were building this building. We saw it when it went up. And it's been a very nice, pleasant place. I remember when she called it, and maybe it's still called, People Helping People.
I worked that Saturday and I came back that Sunday and I opened up. And I was, at this time, none of this here was here. It was just straight away, and it was not way out this way. It was one door. And the prep room was straight away. Back there where we got the wide door back there, it was straight away. And when the wind blew, I went in and I closed the door. At that time, they had a body. So the wind blew, and when the wind blew, it blew the sheet off of her. And then I went to pull the sheet and her hands came down. And Lord have mercy, Jesus. I tried to make another door. I ran up 67. I made that right. And I passed their house and I passed Miss Haynes' house. And I realized I was running track and I'm like, oh God, I can't do this. I had left the building open and I'm halfway almost to King's Highway, the light. I walked back some and I ran back the other way. And I got my nerves together and I calmed down. I'm like, okay, you can do this. And I just kind of took a deep breath and I'm like, I can do this. So I did.
My journey with Miss Haynes began when I was around the age of 12 and 13. I was a musician for Sunset Missionary Baptist Church. And around about the age of 14, Miss Haynes came and she took over that position, and I played with her for a little while and we became real close friends.
She retired from the Greater New Hope Missionary Baptist Church after more than 30 years.
Haynes and Patterson Mortuary is what I remember from the very beginning. I was just a young kid, still in probably junior high school. And of course, Miss Haynes was a teacher.
Haynes and Patterson had Texarkana, Arkansas, New Boston, DeKalb, Ashdown sewed up.
We operated it for 10 years. At the end, the 10th year, my husband passed away.
He retired from the post office after 30 plus years. Once my dad passed in 1980, my mom was still teaching school. And in order that Haynes Mortuary continue, she retired from teaching to be a part of this organization. Daddy, I'm a daddy's girl, was my idol. I stayed everywhere he went, I wanted to go. And I did. He used to, when I was a little girl, he used to leave my brother and sister at home, and I would travel with him to St. Louis because that's where his parents resided, and that's where he attended and graduated from mortuary school. And I would do everything with my dad.
And after he passed away, we had a few more months together, and Mr. Patterson decided that he would withdraw from the business.
It was a gap like 2 years or 3 during that time. Then I became a full staff. I became as staff, regular staff, working every Saturday for Haynes and Patterson. And then at the time, it was a change of owners.
And I bought Mr. Patterson out, and we became Haynes Mortuary.
My mom was still teaching school, and in order that Haynes Mortuary continue, she retired from teaching to be a part of this organization.
And the business started growing after I took it over.
And she's done an excellent job. She was one of the first funeral home owners, female funeral home owners in this area that I'm aware of.
Well, at the time that I started, that was really rare. All around, you know.
It was a challenge, and she often tells me of how, because she was a woman, people would come in the door and want to speak to the owner.
When I first opened up, and the people would come in, they were looking for a man to talk to, you know, the white salesman.
And when they saw that she was a woman, you know, gave her kind of that funny look, since females were not being promoted in terms of, you know, careers and stuff. Back in the day, their place was in the home and other things.
And they would talk to anybody before they would talk to me. And finally, I told one of them, now look, you are avoiding me, but you have to deal with me because I am the one. You know, my husband died, and I have taken over the place. And finally, they adjusted, but that was one of the challenges, that they were just not accustomed to dealing with a woman.
It has been a challenge for me because she remembers everybody in some form. She can't recall their names. She can tell you where she saw you, you know, or something like that. And she thinks that she has passed that on to me, and I'll have to go, and we call her Little Mama, guys. You guys call her Mrs. Haynes. We call her Little Mama. And she will say, oh, Jeanette, you met them over so-and-so. I said, okay, Little Mama, if you say so.
Times that we almost lost our money because people let us down with getting the property, that we almost ran out of the distance for getting the money, because we had the place for sure, we thought, and at the last minute, the ladies backed down on us.
But she has excelled in what she's done for this business. I am constantly in awe of the relationships that she has formed and continues to maintain to this day.
We did so many services, but we made them work, and we gave everybody the special care and attention that they deserve. Nobody was slighted in any way. We had more people that came along, and we didn't have to run as fast and do as many services in one day with just 2 or 3 people.
We had moved back from Florida and was looking for a home. And my husband went to Miss Haynes and asked her if she knew who had owned the property beside her. And she said, yeah, but she gave him the number of the man and stuff, and we called him and ended up getting our place. And she was just a beautiful, sweet person. I used her for the funeral services, Haynes Funeral Mortuary, my personal and my family. And my family was really pleased, and there was not any discrepancy of it or any complaints.
Been blessed so much with personalities who work with us that really made the business what it has become today.
I initially met Ms. Haynes in, I think it was 2006. I was introduced to her through a mutual friend. The odd thing about it was when I initially met her, she apparently already knew me. So fast forward about a year later, I happened to run into her again at a musical at the Mount Orange Baptist Church, which she was the master of ceremonies for that particular musical. When the service was over, I went over to her just to speak to her. She said, "I'm glad to see you, baby. I need to talk to you. Call me this week."
I started just riding around with Ken Walker, and we'd go on services together. And one day he said, well, it's no better time than now for you to try to go pick up a family. And so he instructed me, but he had trained me well. And so I went and picked up a family, and I brought them back to the church unharmed. Praise the Lord. So then, from then on, I was a part of Haynes, and Barbara left, and I was the only female here that I can recall. And so with all the other men that were here, Ike Robertson and a few more that I can't call at the time. But I would drive limos, and we'd have to run from one service to another because it was so few of us. So we'd be on the move, we'd just be on the move, but we was enjoying what we were doing.
I think maybe a week or so later, she called me and told me to come to work as a contract laborer. At that time, because she knew that I was a funeral services student, I was basically helping with paperwork in the office, as well as going on removals sometimes, and going on services, of course. As time progressed, I started beginning to get more and more responsibilities.
I retired about 7 years ago. I traveled to see my grandkids and my daughter. But then I decided, after so much playtime after being retired, I wanted to be a part of this and hopefully to continue the legacy of Haynes Mortuary Incorporated.
Being around Ms. Haynes brought us a sense of community and care. Ms. Haynes is such a people person that if you were around her for any length of time, you became that kind of person, most likely. So I began to learn to care about people in the way that I saw her care about them. She was so caring and was so concerned about people's life and their welfare. And so that's how she brought this business to where it is.
One thing I can honestly say, Ms. Haynes always pushed me. Being young, there was a lot of times I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do, but she never gave up on me. She always stayed on me about doing what I needed to do, because she saw something in me for this business that at that time I didn't see for myself.
She would help people. And she still helps people even to this day. She's gotten numerous awards from AKA baseball awards, and she's gotten trophies that she sponsored people and children and different athletes and stuff. And she's gotten a number of awards and trophies and so forth, but she's just that kind of person. She have a big heart. She's a small lady, but she have a big heart. And she's a people person. And in this business, you have to be a people person. You just can't come in just for the quote unquote, the popularity, because in this business, there's no popularity.
I knew she was always a loving and caring lady. Just a bundle of joy every time you saw her. She always wanted a hug. She would always call me my name when there was a lot of people around, but if it was people that was friendly, she would always call my nickname. And her staff here is just great people. Miss Francis has been here a long time. She tends to play with me a little bit and call me by my nickname. Miss Thelma Howard has been here for years. I got the opportunity to meet Mr. KP.
But currently I am a licensed funeral director. I do meet with families to set up the final arrangements for their loved ones. I feel like this is my ministry.
My ultimate goal, the main concern, is caring for a family. That is my one love and my true ministry, is caring for a family, to help them through that day that's so terrible, or the last day with their loved ones, that you try to make it the best you can for them.
One thing I realize and I recognize about the service that they provide, they already know, because they have the passion and the compassion to deal with you, you know, in your time of grief and in your time of a crisis.
My uncle passed, and I had to have him, and I didn't know how to do any of the stuff of putting somebody away. And I was devastated and upset, and I didn't know what to do because I didn't have anybody to help me until I come to Haynes Mortuary. People are hurting, people are hurt, and they're wounded. They're lost loved ones, and even myself. First experience with my father, and then the next one was my sister, my baby sister. My mom had to bury her through Haynes in Patterson. Then as it became Haynes Mortuary, we had to bury my niece in 2003. She was killed in a house fire. And that was a sad day for us. But Haynes Mortuary took that task on, and when I promise you, they did just that. We sent that little girl home like a little princess. Haynes Mortuary did. And then in 2012, tragically, my brother passed away in his sleep. Haynes stood up again, stood up and stood out. And we sent my brother home like a king. And I just thank God that I had him to help me, because I don't think I could have done it. Because when I come down here to get my uncle, I seen how kind they were to me. And it touched me. I went home and I cried my eyes out. I cried all night long. And my husband said, "What are you crying for? Everything's took care of." And I said, "They were so nice to me." I said, "I wasn't expecting, all that. You don't expect that to anywhere, I guess, when you go somewhere." And I sure appreciate what they done for me. May of 2018. We used Haynes again for my queen, my mom. 2018, May the 16th. I had to call him out again. I found my mom dead, and I called Haynes Mortuary.
My brother and I, not really knowing how to and what the steps is that you have to go through, within a week of my mom passing, Then you got all of these different things you got to go through. You got to go through the insurance. You got to go through what is she going to wear, what kind of jewelry she's going to have. You got to pick out the dress. You got to pick out all the arrangements that you have a problem with trying to sort out in your head. They already basically know. I had a beautiful spirit, and Miss Howard came to me and said, I will take care of that for you. Miss Francis helped us with the financial aspects of everything. Mr. Peacock helped us with the video of the slideshow for the funeral, the color of the casket, the arrangements, the program, how you want to get that done. So really it made my brother and I feel a lot more comfortable, and it was a lot more easy for us to get through the grieving process.
I thought I would never get through this. And speaking, when in this business, we do the services and stuff, and you tell people to look to the hills and hold on, God gonna see you through. But when my time came, it was rough. It was not easy, it was tough. And it's like I said, you tell people to look to the hills, but when my time came, I didn't see any hills. All I saw was valleys. And I felt like I was in a valley because the love of my life was gone, which was my mom. But Haynes, they did it. So that's why I say you have to be a people person. You just can't do it for popularity. You have to love people. But I tell you, it's been a journey with Haynes Mortuary.
So during the grieving process, nobody can put a time limit on when it's going to be. Haynes Mortuary made that process so much easier. So much easier.
Mrs. Haynes is so well known and well loved in this community. There's not a time that I go anywhere that someone walks up to me and says, "Oh, Miss Haynes, she is so wonderful. She is so sweet. She helped me in this situation. She helped me in another situation." I had someone come up to me the other day and said, "I was in Dillard's and I needed a purse to go to my mom's service, and I didn't have the money, all the money that I need." And Mrs. Haynes turned to the clerk and said, "Put that on my bill." True story. This just happened the other day. And it's actions like that she will give her last. She will go without. She did that when we were growing up.
Ms. Haynes saw a need to enlarge her facility and add more rolling stock.
Over the course of the 50 years of Haynes Mortuary being in existence, there have been several upgrades to the building. The most recent one since I have been here is what we call our grand lobby, which has a beautiful chandelier.
We had a display room, a conference room, and 3 chapels, as well as office space.
Which was completed in 2010 under the supervision of Mr. Frankie Elijah.
God has saw this lady through hard times, but guess what? We still made it. Even on the sheds over there, the car shed she added on. Even in the back there, we got extra car sheds. So guess what? We got room for more rolling stock that's gonna come in. And I just believe God for great things and big things, and He's gonna do it. And I just believe He's gonna bless us with more to come. Even Thelma said one lady or 2 ladies. Now I think we got like 5 or 6. We have a staff of people. We can have 4 or 5 services and still have some staff left. And how many funeral homes that they can employ people like that? Not many. We have several staff members, and I thank God. So I'm just looking forward to 50 more years. I may not be around, but I'm looking forward to seeing it. Amen. If I don't see it in the natural, I see it in the spirit. So guess what? I came here at the age of 17. I'm 57 years old now. So God's been good. So now y'all do the math of how many years it's been. Came here as an answering service. And look at it. Now we just put on the answering service. So God has been good. Amen. And I just thank God for that. We
definitely pride ourselves on, here a couple of years ago, we were blasted all across K-Toy for handling 6 services on one Saturday. A lot of people wonder how that's possible. Once again, we have a large enough fleet and we have enough people that I think maybe only 2 crews had to double that particular day. And it's all about stacking your times. I think we did 1 service at 10, 2 at 11, 1 at 1, and 2 at 2. But when our vehicles were moving like crazy that day, we were moving.
The improvements to the rolling stock, when I first came to Haynes, we had a gold coach.
Hers and the cars were gold.
And then we moved to gray and black. But Miss Haynes her favorite colors, and she always wanted some part of that, was gray and navy.
But we couldn't find blue cars. And so we ended up having to buy black.
Everything is black and gray.
We were getting real busy, you know, and we didn't have time to have the cars painted. We liked the blue, and so I just left them black because we couldn't get the cars painted and all that fast.
So she had updated her cars so it'd be more modern, and all the families would be comfortable and they would be safe.
From gold, an old 76 Cadillac, you know, look at them now, 2016, 17, 15. Ain't God good?
Those other funeral homes I told you about, the one in Dallas and the one in Rosenberg, I think were the things that gave me the courage.
Miss Haynes would always be sitting right there in that office, and she would greet you when you come in that door. If she didn't have a meeting going on in that office, her office was right there in the front door, and when you walked in and you see this gorgeous chandelier up over your head, and you walk in and you look in her office, she's gonna greet you with a big smile. If she know you, she's gonna get up and give you a hug. And then the next person you're gonna see is Miss Francis, and she's gonna either make you laugh or she's gonna be as serious a business person as she can be. And now you see Mr. Peacock, he is as professional as anyone in this business can possibly be.
God has seen us through 50 years. Whenever you look like you're going to go down, if you trust the Master, He'll make a way. And so when I'm over here now, I can just praise. I spend most of my time in a day just thanking Him, Kevin.
Currently, I am serving as the president of Haynes Mortuary Incorporated. I wear many hats at this point. I'm learning. I have a lot of support from the staff. They've been wonderful. We aim to provide the best service to our families. The staff has been amazing. They go above and beyond. They're available 24 hours a day. I've experienced it. And it's been a wonderful experience. I wouldn't trade it for anything. I hope to continue and grow and be around for a long time.
To be here with this company to celebrate the 50th anniversary is amazing. I wish that we could do more than what we can do because of the COVID restrictions, but we're definitely celebrating in the biggest way that we could possibly celebrate.
Oh my Lord, I was looking forward to it so much. I just thought that when I got down to like 10 years, every year was looking forward to that 50th year. Just being able to do all the things that we've done, and we've done a lot of things. We've really done a lot of things, Kevin.
The 50th year anniversary was started, the planning stages were started last year, but COVID put an end to our plans, unfortunately. We had picnics planned, gatherings planned.
That's why I say she believes in big things. It may take her last dime, but guess what, Dr. Pauline Haynes, she gonna see us done, one way or the other.
I have not only had to be involved in the arrangement process for our families, but I've also had to focus on the business end, learning things. Businessman Mr. Ken Walker has been so helpful in teaching me things in terms of the business aspect of it.
I thought I wasn't gonna make it at one time, but when I thought about it last week, when I called and said, "Oh Lord, this is the month," that was a real good feeling. And I know that my husband would have been proud.
And we thank everyone in the community and all the staff and all that affiliated for their help in maintaining this service for the community for 50 years.
To God be the glory for the things that He's done for Haynes Mortuary. May God continue to bless us, is our prayer.
I'm looking forward to making not only this year, but every year after this the best year ever. We want our families to know that we love them, we care about them, and when you come to Haynes Mortuary, you've come to the best. We serve, we live to serve you, we live to love you. We love what we're doing. People helping people was not just something that we came up with because we couldn't think of anything else. It's what we live to do, it's what we strive to do. We hope that you give us the opportunity to serve you. The Arklatex is a better place because of us.
On behalf of the Wiggins family, we would like to share our sincere gratitude and appreciation to the Haynes Mortuary staff. During our time of bereavement, Haynes showed professionalism, great care in dealing with our loved one, and patience as we navigated this process. We could not have asked for a better experience, and we wish you all the best with your 50th anniversary. Good luck.